Hello people, this is Budridge and it's a new episode of Let's Linux. I call this one Polybar and Workspaces. And yeah, I mentioned it in the last video and we have talked about it before that I would like to create my own custom workspace indicator, and we will add some more functionality to this. Maybe the coolest thing will be that we will change wallpaper depending on which workspace we are viewing. We'll see how far we get in this video. This will probably be divided into several ones, but just stick with me here. We need to make some preparations and stuff before we start here, because we're gonna use our listen script, the Python script that takes care of notifying Polybar whenever the title changes. It was quite a while ago since we started using this, and you remember it also checks if a window is full screen, then it will hide Polybar for us. So we will extend this script a bit today to also listen for workspace events, and to be able to work with this in a good way. And this is something that we should have done a long time ago, and I haven't really showed you because I wasn't really sure how this works, but now I have found a good way. And what I'm talking about is how we can restart this listener script or exit it. Because now I have it running here from Workspace 2 with this in this terminal. I just run the script. Now I exited it with Control C, but then I just run it with the i3listen.py, and then it's easy for me to restart it by just doing what I just did, Control C, and then run the script again. But let's say I guess the normal procedure would be to run this script from either xinit or maybe from your i3 config, and start it from there, and then you cannot just Control C to exit the script or restart the script or whatever. So we need a way to do this. And you know, many programs you can just if you want to terminate a process, you can use the kill command and then type in, for example, polybar here. This would terminate the polybar process. And you can also, we have looked at this a bit, you can also write the PID, the process ID of a program, and kill it with using that process ID. But this script here now, it is running i3listen.py. If I run kill i3listen.py, arguments must be processes or job IDs. It doesn't find this, and if I try to find the PID ID of i3listen.py, it will not find anything. This is because it's a Python script, and the script itself isn't found this way. It belongs to a Python process running somewhere, so we have to identify that to get the PID number of it. To do this, I have it here in the readme, made some sheet stuff here. If we run this command, ps is like a command to list processes. If you just run it without any arguments, it just lists like the top 2 processes or something. But if we run it with the ps and the ef flags, then we get a list of more or less all processes. And here somewhere we should be able to see our i3 listen script. Somewhere it is. And we're gonna find it no matter where it is, because it is here somewhere. You see, it's a lot of yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter, we don't have to see it. But here it is. So you can see Python 3 is actually the process, and this is, but we can see that it's running this script. And in this second column here, that's where the PID is. So we could run kill 101.79 and that would kill our Python script, listener script here. We could even actually test this by doing this. What did I say? 101.79. Kill 101.79. And you see it terminated the script here. But we need a way to automate this. We cannot bring up this list and search it manually every time. So if I run the Python again here, we got this command. And then we can of course use our good old AWK. I really like this. I think you know by now that this is more or less my favorite program. And what we're looking for is the name eighties.py, and as we could see here, it was the last field or the last column contains that script name eighties.py. So we could search the last field. You can use the variable nf that equals to the last field. If that contains eighties.py, then we can print that line. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so now it runs this command, the psef. It looks for eighties in the last field. If it finds that, it will print the whole line. But remember, all we are interested in is the second column, which contains the pid. So if I would change this to $2 instead, it will only print the pid. So let's see. Yeah, good. And I thought that why not create a little function or a little script that we can use, and then we can search for pids for other scripts as well in the future. It's something that can be useful, even if it's a really short, little, easy one-liner command you can write like this. So let's create a script with autoscript, and let's call it getpid. And now it created that. We have it here in our Sublime. Can open this again, and this was the whole script. Will be the whole script. But what we want to do is to be able to send to like getpid, and then $1, the argument will be a name of something we are trying to find the pid of. So could call it search equals $1, and then in AWK here to add a variable from outside. Like for now we're going to use this $1 search variable here. Could create the variable and here we name what it will be called inside AWK. So we can call it search with the full length like this, and that is equal to search. And if we want to be really good, we can put that within quotes. And then we want to check here to see if that, I wonder if we can just do this search. I hope this works. So now if we run getpid and i3 listen.py, now it prints 2. Wonder why that is. but it is the top one that we are interested in. I don't know what this second one is. We could check really quick. I'm just interested to see here. It can be cool to see my little process here. If $2 is equal to 27971, print $0. 27971. Ah, we need to put it in quotes. No? I don't know. Okay, but we do a dirt fix here and just head 1 that will only print the first found here. I'm not sure what's going on here, but getpid eighties.py. Now it just prints this value. I have to research this, why it found this value too. But now we got a good little script that we can use for other things too. When you're not finding the PID and you want to kill something or restart it or whatever, you can always use this getpid. And then we could update our polybarstart, because I have found that it's good to restart both the listener script and polybar when you restart it. So what we do here is that we create a little variable. We can call it listpid, and that is equal to, use our new script here, getpid i3listen.py. And then we check if it finds a PID here. Maybe now it will find, even if it's dead, we'll see. But if it contains a value, then we kill that process like this. And now it will kill the i3listen if it finds it. And then it will restart polybar, and I think I have it here. Yeah. Copy this whole thing here. It restarts polybar. It should also restart the listener. And we could copy this, because this is the correct way to redirect the output to dev null, because with this $2.1 this means that it will send both the errors and the normal standard output to the same place, and that place is dev null, so it will not clutter up our terminal. Now I could go here, could kill this, and then if I run polybarstart here, now it reloaded both our listener script, and it reloaded the polybar, so it works good. Okay, I really wanted to fix this, because we need a way to isolate this listener script so we can keep track of the output of it while we're working on our workspace indicator script here. And this was very good. Now you can just put this in your i3 config. I think we already have that. No, it have reloader here to execute when we start. I don't know what that does. i3 message restart. We should replace this line then, I guess, and maybe both of these lines. We don't use this xres to RASI. If you have followed these videos, we now use Mondo to handle our themes and stuff like this. I think this was an old script we made to generate the Rofi theme. So here we put in polybarstart inside our reloader script instead. So now it will restart i3, it will reload the XRDB stuff, and it will restart everything. Whatever, this was a sidetrack, but now we're gonna start with our workspace indicator. So let me really quickly explain what I want it to do and how I want it to work, and then we will, yeah. Because now it looks like this. It displays the workspaces, and the focus workspace is highlighted with a different foreground color like this. If we create a new workspace, like here, now we have 3, and for every workspace a new number will appear. And this is kind of fine in a way, this appearance of it, and I almost like it a bit. But if you would have names for the workspaces, like for example workspace 1, you name that work, and then you name workspace 2 media, you name the third social or something. It's common, you know, to have something like that. Then it takes up a lot of space with all these names, and for each workspace, you know, it takes up a big part of the bar. Now I have not the widest screen in the world, but I used to have a really small little 11-inch screen, only 1100 pixels or something. Then, you know, this is valuable space, and you don't want that to just indicate workspaces. You know that it is coding workspace and whatever. And it's also unpredictable. You don't know how wide this part of the bar will be, because it changes depending on the number of workspaces and stuff. So I want something that's more static and much more compact. And I have found that for me it's enough to just display the name of the workspace that I'm currently at, and then the total number of workspace that I have that exist. So with my new workspace indicator, it will just tell us the name here of workspace 1, and then it will say 3, because we have 3 workspaces existing. And if one workspace would be destroyed, we would have 1 and then 2, and if we would add 1, we would have 1 and 4. I think you get it. So it will basically always take up only 2 characters, or if we choose to display this as a name, it will be like just the name and then the number of the workspace. But and also I like to have like each workspace represented by an icon from Front Awesome, and that will make it look like the style here. So the active workspace, for example, maybe that have a banana as an icon, and then it will say banana and then 3, and that will kind of fit with the style of the rest of the bar and be very compact and nice. So that's one thing. That's how I want it to look like, how I want it to appear. And here, by default in Polybar, you can scroll. You can use the scroll wheel to change workspaces like this. I want to retain this functionality, so you can scroll between them like this. But maybe, because now I cannot scroll down when I'm at 3, I have to change direction. My version, I wanted to like warp the focus. But when we click the workspace indicator, now it changes to the one I clicks, of course, but ours will only display the current ones. We cannot click workspace 2, for example. So what I want to happen when I click the workspace indicator is to switch to the last active workspace. And the i3 has a function that does that more or less. It's like workspace back and forth, I think it's called. So if you call that, then you will switch to the last active workspace, no matter which number it has. And I also want it to auto create a new workspace if it only exists one workspace and I would click this, or if I would call this with a different method. So basically, when this is set up, you will more or less never use more than the same key all the time to switch workspaces. Then I would like to add that I don't like workspaces that much. I think it's a very overrated function, and it's better to try to have as few workspaces as possible, most of the time you're fine with just one, and I use tabs instead. It's much better for many reasons. But let's get started here. I guess we should start in our polybar-config. The way we will create this is by creating a new hook module. So we could copy this title module we have here. We paste it here, and we call this one, we can call it WS hook for workspace hook. It doesn't really matter. I think we are fine with just one hook. It will always like display the same thing. I think we can add one later if we want to. And this hook, you remember, this is a command that will be called every time the hook is activated. And a command can be a command, but it can also be the name of a script. And that is what we will use because we are script people. And I call this script PBWS Indi. So polybar workspace indicator. Then we need to create this script, and we can do that with autoscript. And now it's important that the script is named the same as the command here that we use for the hook. So pbws indi, and that creates that file inside our script folder, put it which is in our path and everything, so we can start using it right away. ws hello with 4 L's, why not? Save that, and then we can try it. pbws indi, it works here. Go back to polybar-config. Now we just add this WS hook to our module list, and we want to replace the i3 here. So what did we call it? WS hook. Because remember, this is not the name of the script, it's the name of the module, which is this part of the module definition here. So WS hook. If I save here now, it says WS hello with 4 L's, because what happens is, you know, the initial value is that it will call the first hook of this module. Remember, we can have several hooks if we wanted to. But the initial hook to call is this 0, and what that does is it execute this command pbws indi, which happens to be a script. The script echoes hello, and that output is what is displayed in the hook. So that is the chain of how it works, as a little reminder. And we can actually remove this i3 module here from the list also. So now we only have WS hello. And just as with the title hook script, which activated these hooks when the title of the focus window changes, now we want to activate this hook every time the workspace change, and we will use the i3 listen script for this too, because you can add several different. Now it only listens for window commands or actions or events, but there are more events that you can listen for in different groups, and one of them is workspace, so we can listen for workspace events. Okay, so let's add that. Let's add a listener for workspace events. It's very simple. You just remove this and call it workspace instead, meaning on workspace event, and this is which function to activate when a workspace event happens. And let's call this function ws notify, and then we can copy this whole thing here. I also want to say that I don't know much Python at all. I have learned it just by copy pasting stuff like this and then see what happens, you know. So you have to excuse me if something is completely beardo that I create here. And then every time a workspace event occurs, this function is activated, ws notify. There are different actions that you can listen for, or events. I have written them down here, or changes, they call them changes. So every time a workspace is init, it means when it's created, and there's one change when a workspace is focused and one change when it's emptied. I guess that's destroyed. I think there might be even more changes, but focus, that is the only one we're interested in, I think, and that is enough. And to do something every time a focus, then we write something like this: if event dot change equals focus do something. For example, print something. If I save this, and then I want to restart this i3 listen script, so we have to kill it, and we could use our getpid now. Getpid i3 listen.py, and this is what it's called. We can write it like this. We could do a kill, and then to make a one-liner out of this, just to show you how that works, pid i3 listen.py, and this should kill that process. And now if I activate Sublime, it doesn't change the title because the script isn't running anymore. So if I run the script here now with i3 listen.py, now the script is running. When I activate a new window, we get some output, and it changes the title. And if I would change the workspace now, let's go to workspace 2, and then I go back to 1. Then you can see here that it says something, and then this is the title hook stuff, and then it says something again because we switch workspace 2 times. So now we know it works. And this is more or less all we want the Python script to do. You might think that why are you creating these bash scripts and getting output from there? Because everything we will do in the bash script now, we could have done it in the Python. But remember that the hooks, the polybar hooks, you cannot send any special information to it. You can only specify which of the predefined hooks in your polybar config that you want to activate. And they don't have dynamic parameters, so I cannot say activate hook number 2 and send it the name of the workspace as a parameter. I can just tell it that, yeah, I think you get it. So we need a separate script somehow to do this. I wish there was a way to send to actually give a special parameter to the hook you're activating. I'm not sure, maybe I missed something, and I'm gonna see if I can get hold of the Polybar guys and talk a bit about them about this, because it would help me a lot, and then I could do much more directly from one Python script. But whatever, now we do it this way because this is the way we do it. So when a workspace event, when a workspace is focused, then we will activate our WS hook, and we will activate the first hook of that module. It only contains one hook, so of course it is number 1 hook. So instead of title hook here, we write WS hook, and instead of hook number 2, we add hook number 1. That, and now we reload this listener script and run it again, and we will not see any difference now. If I go to workspace 2 and then workspace 1, it have activated the hook, but it just prints the same old stuff, you know. So now we go into pbws in this script, and here now we will, depending on which workspace and stuff, we will have different output here. To find out which workspace is active, we can use the built-in i3 function with i3 message -t and then get workspaces, and then you get a list of all existing workspaces and some information about them. One thing here, yeah, we do this, we copy this output so we know what we have to work with in our script. Then we can just do this. Doesn't really matter, I just want to have a little overview of how the output looks like. It's good to have, and I cut it at the commas. We'll understand soon why. Okay, so what we want to display here now is the number or the name of the active workspace. We will talk soon about this naming, because this is a bit special now. We have to do it in a special way when we do this, or we don't have to, but we will. One really interesting thing here, I will not touch on it at all now, but here you can also see which output, meaning which screen that the workspace exists on. And this can be very interesting when you change wallpapers later. Then it might be very good to be able to switch the workspace on a certain output. But I only have one screen, I cannot test this with multi-monitor, but this is you have to figure out a way to extract this value, and yeah, maybe we even do it in this video just so I can show you how. Okay, but we wanted to display the active workspace. Let's take name. But name and number is the same on all workspaces because we haven't defined any names, but whatever. But we can see here each object or each workspace have a number, it have a name, it have a visible key, it have a focused key. And focused, that means the active workspace. I guess that visible, that can be true if it's a workspace on a different monitor that's visible, but it doesn't have to be active. But only one workspace can be active, and that is the one that is focused. So what we will do is pipe this output to AWK to get the name of the active workspace, and we will also count how many workspaces we got. To do so, we do this i3 message -t get workspaces. This is the command that we used to generate this output. Pipe that to AWK. Then we will use colon as a field separator. So each field will be separated by a colon because there are no white space in this outputs. We need to have some other separator. And as you can see, the comma is another good thing to use as a separator. So we instead of having looping each line, we add comma as a record separator, which is called RS in AWK. Although we should put it in single quotes even, and then we can enter the script here. So now it will, instead of lines, it will loop each comma separated field or thing here, and then it will separate those records by a colon. So this will be field 1, this will be field 2. Then we have record 2 with field 1, field 2, and so on. And we wanted to display the name, so we can do that by checking that if $1, the first field of the record, is name, and here I put a tilde instead of a equals, and that means if the first field contains name, because it will also contain these quotes, so this just makes for a cleaner script. If the first key contains name, then we store the value of the second field in somewhere, and we can call it, I like this convention, like current name, that variable stands for, and that is equal to 2. But that will just store the value in this variable. We will only print the current name if the workspace is focused, which we can see if the first key of the record contains the word focused, and if the second key is equal to true. You could also write it like this, but this when it's Boolean values, they don't contain any quotes or anything, so we could safely check for an exact match of that field. So if the first key is focused and the second key is true, and that will also only be true for one of these things. If that is the case, then we print our CNM variable, which is the current name. So if number 1 is focused, then that will be, yeah, you get it. So this should actually be enough for it to just display the active workspace name. We can test it by switching workspace. Now I'm at 2, now I'm at 3, now I am at 1. And it works great. If we also wanted to print the total number of workspaces, we can just create a variable to hold to count every time we stumble upon a name here, for example. Then we know it's a new workspace, and we can call this NWS. So N stands for number, and the number of workspaces, and we just increment this variable with 1, and a shorthand to write that is this, ++. It's very common in many different programming languages. And then we just print that value at the end of the AWK script, because it is actually a script within a script. This, so end print NWS. But this, if I run this now, it will not print the currently active workspace, it will only print the total. I will explain soon why. But if I save this and go to workspace 2, it says 3, workspace 3, it says 3, workspace 1, it says 3. Because it have 2 prints here, and the print, it is more or less the same thing as writing echo in a terminal. It just echoes something, and then it prints a new line, and this new line kind of terminates the output, and it does so 2 times. So to avoid that, to add both of these, if you use printf, then it will not add a new line to the end of the output, and that means that these 2 will appear to be on the same line or part of the same output. And this should work. If I go to workspace 2 now it says the name 2, and then it says 3. But as you can see now, it also contains the quotes from the output, which we can see here. One thing we could do, we can see that the num is not a string, because name is always a string, and that is why it contains these quotes. But num is always an integer. So it doesn't contain quotes. So that would actually be the easiest thing if we just want to display the number, and that is what we want to do. I will soon explain about names and stuff, because we will use it, but not in this the normal way. So we could just change this to num instead. And now, but as you can see, it looks like 13, 23 and 33. We could just add this a space within quotes like this, and then now we have them on. You can kind of separate them in a way, you know. Okay, we're getting really close, and I wonder if maybe this maybe it's time to make a break in the video here and continue in a new one, because I don't want to make too long videos, and I think we do that, but we have a really good something really good to build upon from here. Yeah. I will link in the show notes the video to the previous title where we created the title hook script, because that explains much more about how hook modules and stuff works. I really recommend you watching that if you haven't, because otherwise this might seem really confusing. And this is the kind of videos I want to make, you know, more scripting, more programming and stuff, and showing you more and more about how AWK works and things like that. Whatever. I hope I see you in the next video. Right now this is not much to write home about, you know. But it will be a really cool little indicator thing. And yeah, everyone waiting. We want individual wallpapers. And you will get it, guys. I promise you. If you just continue watching the Let's Linux series with me, Budrich, like and subscribe, and have a great day. Bye bye.